Namaskar, I am Dr. Aarti Chaudhary, Assistant Professor in the Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology at Vasant Kanya Mahavidyalaya, Banaras Hindu University. I welcome you once again in this 12-week course titled History of Science and Technology in Ancient India from Harappan Civilization to 7th century CE. Now, we are in our module 12 and lecture 5. The title of module 12 is Other Scientific Insights in Ancient India and Archaeological Methods, and the lecture title is Preliminary Conservation of Material Culture. This is lecture 5. At first, the learning objective of this particular lecture. So, the first learning objective is to know the conservation methods based on organic and inorganic material. The second learning objective is to discuss the different techniques related to conservation and preservation. And the third learning objective is the role of nature in preservation. So, here we have to understand, in our last class we have discussed about the different survey methods in archaeology, and now we are going to discuss about the conservation and preservation method. It is also an inseparable important part of archaeology. In this topic we are going to discuss few important sub points, which is what is preliminary conservation, type of deterioration and factor affecting material culture, three main areas of artifact care, preliminary conservation and preservation techniques, the role of nature in preservation and the challenges. The preliminary conservation of material culture is vital for preserving artifacts that provide invaluable insight into the culture, belief and technological advancement of ancient civilization. Artifacts such as pottery, inscription, tool, sculpture, bone, textile, wood and other materials serve as direct evidence of past society. These objects help historian, archaeologist and scholar to reconstruct the daily life, social structure and worldview of early civilization. Preliminary conservation aim to stabilize and protect these items from natural decay, environmental factor and human interference. Scientific methods are used to ensure that these artifacts, including delicate materials like textile and wood, remain intact and authentic. Through careful conservation, the physical remnants of ancient culture are preserved, ensuring that the legacy of these societies continue to be studied and appreciated by future generation. What is preliminary conservation? Preliminary conservation is a critical and systematic process undertaken to stabilize the protect an artifact or object immediately upon its discovery or exposure. Its primary objective is to prevent further deterioration and ensure the item preservation for future research and interpretation. This essential phase safeguards the integrity of the artifact while allowing sufficient time for comprehensive conservation treatment to be planned and executed by promptly addressing environmental risk and physical stress. Preliminary conservation play a vital role in preserving cultural heritage. It lays the foundation for detailed analysis and advanced conservation method, ensuring that these invaluable objects can be studied, appreciated and preserved for future generation. So, the method of conservation and preservation is very important, because an archaeologist, when collect some cultural material from any site, then the preservation is very essential, the conservation is very essential, because that particular material, cultural material, is the key aspect of historical reconstruction. So, the proper management, proper safety of that particular thing should be managed by the scholar and take care by the scholar. Through the proper preservation and conservation method, the particular material remain will safe, and then a historian can write and can conclude the historical aspect on the basis of that particular remain. So, the particular method regarding conservation and preservation is a key aspect for the reconstruction of history, for the reconstruction of past in a contemporary period, and it is a very much scientific method which is involved in archaeology. Types of deterioration and factors affecting material culture. Types of deterioration is physical deterioration, that include cracking, crumbling or breakage due to pressure or contraction. Chemical deterioration caused by moisture, corrosion and rusting, for instance metal breaking down into ores. Biological deterioration result from insects, fungi and microorganism, for instance decay of wood and textile. And another thing is factor affecting material remains. Which factor affecting the material remains? Age of the artifacts, method of manufacture, soil condition and burial environment and duration of burial. Types of material remains. There are two types of material remains, organic and inorganic. What is organic material? Organic materials found during excavation include bones, human and animal, wood, leather, textile, shell, etc. These materials are divided from living organism and are prone to biological deterioration. Now, the terms to understand inorganic materials. Then inorganic materials include ceramic, terracotta object, bricks, tiles and metals such as copper, iron, lead and silver. These are non-living materials that typically undergo physical or chemical deterioration. Three main areas of artifact care. Artifact should be careful by the surveyor or by the archaeologist, and the process is cleaning, gentle removal of dirt for better examination and conservation, repair, resembling of securing the object's original form, stabilization, strengthening the artifacts to prevent further damage. The conservator should be very much aware regarding the proper take care, proper preservation, proper conservation of a material. So, stabilization is strengthening the artifacts to prevent further damage. Now, preliminary conservation and preservation technique. Tools and materials for the first aid treatment. What kind of tools? They are brushes, dental instrument, pen and kitchen knives, blade, rubber gloves, toothbrushes, magnifying glass, magnet, sprayer, eyedroppers, adhesive tapes, spoons, thermometer, plastic tubes, glass jar, measuring cups, saucepan, trays, cardboard, and these things are basically related to the containers and mixing tools. And third one is protective and supporting materials, which is cotton wool, polythene bag, polythene sheets, bandaging material and talcum powder. So, these are the basic conservation preservation material for the first aid treatment or the tools. Now, chemicals and adhesives, they are polyvinyl acetate PVA, polyethylene glycol PEG 4000, natural paste wax, quick fix, alcohol, acetone, toluene, ammonia, benotriazole BTA, hydrochloric acid, formic acid. And now crafting and restoration material, they are plaster of Paris, plaster bandage, tissue paper, dental plaster, shellac, sandpaper, aluminum foil, distilled water and detergent. So, these all things are important in the process of preservation and conservation. So, it is not as straight as we are thinking, it includes so much rule, it includes so much tools, it includes so much things to perform for any conservation and preservation practice for any conservator or preservator. It should be, it is very scientific and it should be followed, fixed rule or regulation should be followed by the conservator or preservator. Now, conserving organic materials. Organic materials like bone, wood, leather and ivory should be stored in the same environmental condition, dry, wet or damp, as found during excavation to prevent deterioration. Sudden changes in humidity or temperature can cause irreversible damage. So, one by one you can see the particular conservation methods which involve in these kind of materials like bones, ivory and shell. Material composition: bone and ivory contain both organic 40% proteinaceous osin and inorganic calcium carbonate and fluoride, material which required carefully handling, and the cleaning process involved these three practices like salt incrustation. Objects recovered from excavation often have salt incrustation and need cleaning. Soft brushes: use soft brushes to remove dirt, avoid water as it causes uneven swelling of the material, and alternative cleaning agent methylated spirit or alcohol should be used instead of water. Methylated spirit or alcohol should be used instead of water. Now, coating: after cleaning, apply 5% dilute solution of polyvinyl acetate in multiple coat, allowing each coat to dry. Broken part: a quick fix can be used to join broken part of the bone. And packaging for transport, there is also three types and they are dump bones. These should be placed in unsealed plastic bags. Dry and preserved bones, these should be packed in box packed with cotton, double wrap or other shock absorbing material. And third is articulated skeleton, map these before removal for better conservation. So, on the basis of different bone conservation, there are so much strategies followed by the conservator on the basis of the bone quality. The separation and packing: separate and pack preserved fragile or small bone carefully. The soil matrix can be packed separately to help the conservator understand the bone original microenvironment. Wood composition: wood is fibrous and cellular, mainly made of cellulose, lignin, resin and other hydrocarbons. Dry wood requires minimal treatment in the field. If insect infested, seal in a polythene bag with para-dichlorobenzene crystal and this is for the dry wood, and if the wood is wet and waterlogged, then wrap in damp newspaper and spray with 1% fungicide. Do not allow it to dry as it can cause shrinkage and disintegration. And prevention, polyethylene glycol polyethylene glycol PEG help retain shape and structure. Removing in situ wet wood and keep the object dry, immerse it in concentrated polyethylene glycol PEG 4000 at 60 degrees Celsius. Remove once bubbling, seize and let it dry gradually. So, here is the word in situ. Here is the word in situ. In situ position means the archaeological materials what we found from the archaeological field, it should be recorded in their original place. They should not be removed, they should not be disturbed, as they found from that particular place, and we record it. In situ position is the proper place of that material without any disturbance, without any removing that particular material. And on the basis, as like the bone, on the basis of the demand of that particular wood, if it is dry, if it is wet, if it is waterlogged, the conservator decide what kind of particular conservation method should be applied on this particular material remains. Textiles, handling and preservation. Extremely fragile and delicate, may retain valuable data like weaving pattern. Apply a thin polyvinyl acetate solution gently using a sprayer. Avoid exposure to direct sunlight, heat or high humidity. For C14 dating, always collect sample before applying any conservation solution to avoid contamination and inaccurate dating result. Storage and transport, carefully wrap in acid free tissue paper and avoid folding. Send to a professional conservator as different fibers require specific treatments. Conserving inorganic materials like ceramic. At Kodumanal in Tamil Nadu, archaeologists discover a large number of inscribed potsherd bearing the Tamil Brahmi script and various graffiti marks. These findings are important because they provide valuable information about the culture, language and daily life of the people who once lived there. Some potsherd may still contain trace of stored or cooked material which can help researcher understand the diet of past communities. It is important to handle these artifacts carefully as harsh cleaning method can damage delicate inscription or remove useful residue. The condition and treatment of the pottery also depend on factors such as how it was fired, its hardness and any decoration or paint. Pottery mending. After carefully and properly cleaning, it is important to start the mending process from the bottom of the vessel, ensuring that each pair of pieces fits together accurately before applying adhesive. Once a proper fit is confirmed, adhesive should be applied along the edge and allowed to become slightly tacky. The pieces are then joined together and gently pressed into place. The reconstructed one can be supported in a sand filled pot to hold it securely while the adhesive sets and hardens. Tamil Brahmi potsherd and the mended pottery. Now, stone. Stone artifacts are generally very durable and require minimal treatment in the field. However, some type like marble, limestone and sandstone are more prone to weathering and must be handled with extra care. Stone tools may preserve delicate evidence such as thread impression of use wear marks. So, it is important to avoid rough scraping or harsh cleaning method. In most cases, stone can be safely cleaned with plain water. For tougher incrustation, a 2% hydrochloric acid solution can be used with caution. Cracks in the stone can be stabilized using a diluted PVA polyvinyl acetate solution. Treating stone artifacts also require a basic understanding of minerals and rocks. Special R must be taken with marble, which is made of calcium carbonate and can react with even with mild acid. Professional conservation is strongly recommended for such items. Now, the conservation regarding the metals, general guidelines related to the metals are common materials silver, copper, bronze, iron, gold, what we found from the different sites. Assess metals core stability before treatment, avoid mechanical cleaning, use minimal chemical treatment, never use plaster as salt in it may accelerate corrosion. Coins required special attention as they reveal data regarding site. Now, specific treatment by metal type. Bronze, in case of heavy incrustation, soak in 30% solution of formic acid, monitor closely till it becomes colored. Wrap in aluminum foil during treatment, it is optional. After cleaning, rinse properly with distilled water, dry and apply neutral wax and PVA polyvinyl acetate. In case of copper chlorides, immerse the object in a 10% solution of benzotriazole in distilled water or a 3% solution in alcohol. After treatment, rinse thoroughly with distilled water and allow it to dry completely. Now, the process for iron. Iron is highly susceptible to corrosion and because of it layers of ferric oxide and ferric hydroxide often form, leaving only a thin metal core. Preserving the original shape and structure is often difficult. Field treatment. Field preservation should involve soaking the object in an acrylic resin solution like paraloid B72. Avoid using polyvinyl acetate PVA as it is mild acidic to metal. Now, the copper, silver and gold. Remove immediately upon discovery and protect from air exposure. After cleaning, gently apply polyvinyl acetate and gauze bandage. Store in a low humidity environment to slow further corrosion. Now, the information regarding data sheet, data recording. If the whole process done by the conservator, then the process should be written down properly. So, this kind of data recording is very much important for the conservator. The conservator should mention every conservating step in this data recording. Maintain separate data sheet for each object documenting its type, material, condition and all treatments applied during field conservation. Information for laboratory. When sending objects to the lab, provide site details, the microenvironments, physical, biological and chemical characteristics and any issue encountered during excavation to guide proper treatment and planning. So, this picture shows a few example of metal objects, the swords and the picture, and this is the metal object anthropomorphic figure. Now, the role of nature in preservation. The dry preservation. In arid condition such as Egypt, the shortage of water prevents microorganism growth, naturally preserving materials. Notable example include well preserved human remains and artifacts like papyrus and wooden boats buried near the Great Pyramid, as well as item from Tutankhamun tombs. Now, cold preservation. In extreme cold condition, decay is halted for thousands of years as seen in Alaska, Siberia and Greenland glaciers. A notable example is Otzi, the iceman discovered in 1991 near the Similov glacier. Now, volcanic preservation. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius in August 79 preserved Pompeii with human remains and artifacts cast in volcanic ash. Ferroleal plaster method and modern fiberglass technique allow for detailed preservation. Now, waterlogged environment. Wetlands, lake and swamps provide oxygen free environments preserving artifacts. Underwater sites remain stable as long as artifacts are submerged, but care is required when removing items. Environmental factors, yes, it is also very challenging factor. Human factor, improper handling, lack of funding and resources, climate change, chemical reactions, technological challenges, ethical consideration and access and storage. So, these are the challenges in the field of conservation and preservation. Though in any field of any scientific study or some kind of other study, the whole world is full with the full with the opportunities and challenges. So, this is the rule of this is the rule of related to the any features of the living world. So, the conservator also face some challenges to work and overcome with these challenges, and they protect, they conserve particular thing, and they help to the historians and archaeologists to reconstruct a history, a contemporary world history, a history related to the particular material remains, and it is also the part of academics or the part of the different conservation method or the preservation method. So, a conservator should follow these particular rule, and on the basis of their particular infrastructure, their particular techniques, they can overcome with the challenges and they can conclude the whole things properly. Now, we come to the point, the challenges faced by the conservator, and we have to see the first the challenges of the conservator, that is particularly related to the environmental factors, human impact, improper handling, lack of funding and resources, climate change, chemical reaction, technological changes, ethical consideration, access and storage. So, on the conclusion we can say conservation of artifacts in the context of ancient Indian science and technology highlights the need to preserve not only physical items, but also the knowledge embedded in them. Ancient Indian technologies such as metallurgy, alchemy, architectural design provide insight into the scientific and cultural advancement of the time. Conservation efforts must focus on preserving the integrity of these artifacts while ensuring the accurate transmission of traditional technique for future research. Utilizing modern technology such as 3D scanning and digital preservation can assist in documenting and replicating ancient methods. However, on-site conservation also requires careful handling to protect and the delicate materials and craftsmanship, ensuring these scientific achievements are preserved for continued study and appreciation. So, if you want to enhance your knowledge regarding this particular topic, you can consult these references which is present right now on your screen. So, this is the last lecture of this 12-week module, and till now we have discussed uh, multi-dimensional aspect of ancient Indian science and technology. We have discussed Harappan science and technology, Vedic science and technology, post Vedic science and technology, medicinal text of Charak, Sushrut and Vagbhat, as well as the mathematical development in ancient India, the astronomical development of ancient India, the Panchasiddhantika of Varamihir and the Aryabhatiya written by Aryabhat. So, these all structure we already discussed in this 12-week course, and I believe you must be benefited with this course, and this course will help you to draw a clear picture of ancient science and technology in your mind. Definitely you will be benefited with this course. So, thank you very much for being with me through this entire journey, and you will be benefited with this course surely, and thank you very much for your patience listening to the all courses, and all the best for your future studies as well. So, thank you once again.